Okay, hopefully we are now live, which we are. Good morning, everyone. How are we doing? Um, Today I'm extremely bored. I'm not doing too much racing today, so I effectively just want to talk about a few things. I've had quite a few messages from friends that, so for instance, when I'm streaming, this is the angle you see, this is the picture you see. I never talk about the things I race with or certain aspects of sim racing in general, even the sim I'm racing on and things like that. So um, today I'm just going to talk basically about a few things, about different steering wheels I use, the pedals I use, gearboxes, button boxes, the PC itself, um, and also sim racing in general as it stands now. This is all, of course, this is just my point of view. Um, I'm not a guru in this stuff. I am, and if you speak to some of my teammates, I am in no way, shape, or form a tech whiz. In fact, I'm, I'm subpar of what I should really know. um, but at the end of the day, I can only talk about what I've got, what I've seen, the things I do, the racing I've done, and the things I've learned over the time I've been sim racing, etc. So feel free to send messages and stuff, and I'll sit there and answer them. Yeah, take the piss if you want. Don't matter. It's all a bit of fun today. As I say, we're not doing any racing. We're just going to sit here and chat a little bit about certain things, and I'm going to switch to another camera and show you around what I've got. And we're going to go through some prices and price lists of certain things, how much things are. Um, if you want to get started in sim racing, things like that. I've had a few people message me asking me how much things are to get started in sim racing, what PC you need, things like that. So I'll just try and clear up a little bit of my knowledge of what I know. Again, I am not a tech wizard, especially tech whiz on PCs. I'm not that way inclined, but I do know a little bit. So people are asking me what sort of things you need to get to use VR, etc., and things like that. And I'll be talking about the VR I use and things like that. The good things and the bad things of certain things. So anyway, I hope you're all chilled at home, sitting down. I've got my coffee. Um, just move this while I drink, otherwise I'll spill coffee. So yeah. So effectively, as it stands now, um, with the way things have been going with regards to sim racing, with regards to what's happening outside, sim racing has become, extremely popular, like three times more popular than what it was before this. Um, and when I say three times more popular, I'm effectively talking about what I see on iRacing. Now, iRacing is the sim that I race on. I don't really race on any other sim. iRacing is the only thing I really take seriously. I do other sims. I dabble with, certain things, but not as a serious side of racing. I do it just for fun. Um, Now, before all this kicked off outside and all this stuff started flying around outside, the numbers on iRacing, you were looking around about, I'd probably say anywhere between 4,000 and 6,000 people online on a weekend, I'd say, roughly. I could be wrong in those figures, but I think it's round about that sort of area, 3 to 6,000, roughly. It's a big gap, I know, but during the week to the weekends, beginning of the weeks, you'd probably get between 3 and 5,000. In the weekends, you might get six, possibly 7,000. Now, during this pandemic we're all going through, you're seeing up to 14 to 15,000 people on iRacing now. So basically, there's more and more people, which is great for us sim racers. In certain respects, it's great, but then on the other spectrum, it's not so great. And I'll explain as to my opinion as to why. Um, anyway, we'll talk about what I've got, because obviously there were a few people talking about what I'm running. Now, the stuff I run with is, I would say, let's say you've got, for instance, let's say you've got three tiers of equipment. I.e., let's start off with the steering wheel. So you've got three tiers of steering wheel. You've got tier one, which is the budget grade, I'd say. Tier two, which is the, you know, in the middle grade, and tier three, which is your extremely awesome stuff, which costs the earth. Now, you can get involved in sim racing with any three of those different things. You can spend from £120, you could buy yourself a steering wheel, a base and a steering wheel itself for 120 quid. And that's the cheapest of things you could buy. Now, they're all belt driven or gear driven wheels. I think the very, very cheap ones are actually gear driven. I've never had them myself. I never went for that option. I went to what I would class as the middle ground. Maybe the stuff I'm using now is probably just a bit below the middle ground, because the middle ground I'd probably class as for the Fanatec V2.5 base steering wheels. But I'm running the Thrustmaster T300 now. I've ran this base, not this particular base. I've had three of these bases over the time I've been racing, possibly four. Because before I got involved in iRacing, I mean, I've been sim racing since, or I've been racing on computer games. It wasn't called sim racing back then; it was just racing. I think I was probably about 7 years old when I started, and I raced on the Atari ST. And I used to race on a game called Grand Prix 2 or Grand Prix, and then it was Grand Prix 2 Jeff Crammons. I don't know if any of you guys remember the old Jeff Crammons stuff. That was brilliant stuff. That was great. I mean, that was revolutionary. And then Grand Prix Legends came out and things like that. But even before that, I was racing on little Tinky Tonk games, on the old Spectrum. Spectrum. So yeah, how things have evolved within the times have been absolutely amazing, and we're all extremely lucky. Um, Robbie ran my T300 for over 3 years. It was bought and used. Great. Yeah, that's the thing. These T300s, they are really good. For the money, they're brilliant. Um, and there is thousands of people on sim racing who still use the T300s. Um, you don't need, if you're only racing on ovals, doing a lot of oval racing and stuff, you don't need to go direct drive. I don't see the point in that. So to me, if you're only racing ovals, if you're an American, if you're from that side and you love your oval racing, direct drive is pointless in my opinion. Absolutely pointless, because 9 times out of 10 you run your force feedback very low anyway on the ovals, and I've heard of some people not running any force feedback whatsoever. So buying the higher end spectrum of the steering wheels in sim racing, you don't need it to be fast. In fact, you're probably better off with this because it's cheaper, and if they break, it's one of those things where you can just get rid of. Um, Scott Malcolm, I remember the Jeff Crammond started on Spectrum 48. Oh, Nigel Mansell Grand Prix. Excellent. I never played that one, man. I wish I've got to check that out. I might look on YouTube, see if I can find some clips. Yeah, Scott, post send me a private link if you can find of that game. Send me a private message. I'd love to watch some. um yeah, what was I talking about? So yeah, as for oval racing, you won't need direct drive steering wheels, things like that, because there's no point. It's a waste of money, it's a waste of four figures, um and you won't be any quicker. If not, it will probably hinder you more because it's just an unnecessary amount of feedback uh, within the steering wheel. Anyway, but for road racing, a massive plus for direct drive. Now, I won't talk about direct drive too much because I don't have one yet, so I can't talk about it too much. The only thing I'll talk about is my stuff. So the T300, I've had this particular one for only a few months because my other one died, but that lasted me about 2.5 years, I think, my last base. But anyway, this is a belt-driven wheel. I have it set on iRacing. Believe this or not, I only have it set at about 2.8 Newton meters of torque. Now, that's low. That's hardly any feeling at all. But that's all I run. I only in any racing, um, and I can feel the bumps and stuff, but not a great deal. But I still manage to race and race okay. But it's just because what I'm used to. Now, 2.8 Newton meters, for those that don't know, is quite low. In fact, it's very low for force feedback. I think the T300 can do about 4 Nm or something like that maximum. But you've got direct drive wheels, which is the tier 3, like I was talking. You spend 4 figures on a direct drive wheel. You'll buy just the base. I think the cheapest you can buy out there with a steering wheel, I think, is the AccuForce, and that's £1,000 for the base and the steering wheel, and that gives you 13 newton meters, 1.3. That's not 30, 13. 13 newton meters of torque in the steering wheel. So already that's, you know, 5 times more than what I've got, 6 times more. So you get that much more feeling in the steering wheels. And the ones that are up from that are the ones I'm actually looking at currently, um, which gives you 17 to 20 newton meters of torque. Now, you'd never run that in a race because there's just no point. So, you'd adjust it to about 8 or 9 for that. But anyway, this particular steering wheel, you can buy the T300 base steering wheel. You get a steering wheel with it. I believe you get one of these. If I just take this off the rack, you get one of them steering wheels with it. Depending on what particular setup you buy, you'll either get that one or you'll get this one, which is a Ferrari one. You can see the difference there. So you get either steering wheel. You can see that, okay? Yep, that's fine. So you get the Ferrari one here, or you get the PlayStation one here. This steering wheel is compatible with PlayStation 4 and the PC. And I've used this since the PlayStation days. This steering wheel, it's never let me down. I like it. I'm used to it, but I will be upgrading very soon. Now, to get that and that, these days, I think now the way sim racing is going, you can run 20 newton meters of torque. Bloody hell, 20 newton meters in the Mazda. I'm gonna have to try that. Which direct drive do you have, Lee? Be interesting to know what you have actually to run 20 newton meters. Is it the OSW, or have you got something a bit more than that? Possibly the SimCube or SimuCube. What's the one up? Not the one below the Ultimate, but above the Sport. I think it's the Pro, isn't it? So yeah, you can pick the steering wheel up, and I think if you're looking at getting into sim racing as of today, I would just be very careful as to what you're looking at, because obviously the way it is at the moment, prices of sim racing gear are through the roof because everyone's at home, is bored, everyone wants to become a racing driver online. So all equipment is extremely expensive. If I was to sell all this gear now that I've got, and I'll show you what I've got in a minute, I'd make a fortune, an absolute fortune, considering what I bought it for. Yeah. So, the markup price is ridiculous. So just be careful. SimCube OSW1. Okay, interesting. Cool. Yeah, I'm looking at that exact one at the moment. So I think it's probably a couple of months away before I'm actually going to be direct drive, which I'm going to be looking forward to. But we'll see. It all depends on what happens with everything work-wise and things like that. So I've got to be very careful about what I'm spending at the moment. So I'm not spending any more money just yet, but I just need to figure out what's going on outside in the real world as to whether I upgrade in the next couple of months or not, or just wait for a bit longer. But yeah, just be careful what you're buying, because as soon as we go back to normal, or as soon as everyone starts going back to work, should I say, normal is an understatement, but as soon as we all go back to work, prices of sim racing gear will drop significantly. So now, if you bought a T300 steering wheel, I've got it wrote down here. If you buy a T300 steering wheel now, you're paying £270 for the T300. Now, that hasn't gone up massively from what it was anyway. And that's the cheapest I could find the T300 steering wheel with a steering wheel. So £270 will get you a T300, which is compatible for the PlayStation 4 and the PC. Now you can buy second hand. I bought this one for £200 brand new with a steering wheel and pedals, which, let's just not go into pedals that they supply you with these steering wheels because they're absolute cack. Do not, that's the other thing. If you buy the steering wheel, do not use their pedals. They are just the worst. I mean, literally, you couldn't even sell them for £5. They're that bad. So please stay away from the Thrustmaster, the two pedal ones, the ones they supply with the steering wheel. I'm not talking about the Thrustmaster three pedal uh, T3PA pedals, which I've had as well, which I'll talk about again after this. The two pedals for this are dire. Morning, Graham. How you doing, mate? You're right. Good to see you. Um, but yeah, so if you're looking at picking up a steering wheel, just be careful how much you're spending in this day and age because at the moment, the prices of sim racing gear is just through the roof. So just be careful what you're looking at. Um, and if you've got any questions on what steering wheels and things like that, and if you're looking at steering wheels to buy, if you're getting into sim racing, send me a private message and I'll give you an honest opinion as to whether it was probably too much money or not. So just be careful because there's a lot of people out there that are trying to make a lot of money from their gear. Anyway, so we'll get into this now. So the steering wheel alone, if you want to get a steering wheel like I've got, again, I can only talk about what I've got. So T300 plastic thing. It's not the best looking thing in the world, but it does the job. So that's £270 at the moment, brand new. But if you wait for a couple of months or so, I can guarantee you probably get that for about £200 brand new. Steering wheels, you can interchange steering wheels. As I showed you before, you've got your steering wheels that come with the T300, which is this, which I never use. We'll put that back up here. You've got an add-on 488 steering wheel, which is the Ferrari thing. I only use that for Euro Truck Simulator, which is fun. You've got this one, which I use all the time on iRacing. This is the one I use. That's the Ferrari F1, I don't know what it's actually called, challenge wheel, but it's got 27 buttons on it, which, to be honest, really, really helps me a lot because I have so many buttons mapped. You've got rotary encoders just here. So brake bias and traction controls in here. You've got your toggle switches down the bottom. You've got switches all around the outside. Anyway, so that's a really good one to use on iRacing because I have a lot of buttons mapped out for that. A lot of chat buttons, Discord, brake biases, traction controls, yeah, pit lane, speed limiter, everything. It's all on there. So literally, and to get it on the base, there's got a crappy swivel thing on there. There's no quick release. That is effectively the quick release. Literally just put it on and just tighten it up. And that's how long it takes to put on a steering wheel on one of these. Keep turning, keep turning, keep turning, keep turning. Done. Okay, so now you've got your steering wheel on. And effectively that's how you put your wheel on. Now, that steering wheel alone, again, if you want to buy this particular steering wheel, it'll end up costing you £140 at the moment. So that's just on its own. But if you wait again until after this pandemic palaver, you could probably pick this up for about 90 quid. So anyway, what we're going to do is I'm going to quickly switch to another camera and show you exactly what I've got because someone asked me about my pedals and what pedals I've got. So if I can just find my live camera, we'll switch the cameras around to this ugly camera of me. Hello, how are you doing? Good to see you all. So here we go then. Let me just stand up and go from here. So we've got the rig, yeah? So the SimLabs rig itself, I'm surprised at the prices of the SimLabs rigs because they're so good. They've got so much sturdiness, if that's a word. I don't know if that's a word. They're so stable. They're so strong. It's unreal. And this is, I'd probably say this is the most basic one you can buy from SimLabs. This one is called the. I'm getting tangled up with wires here now. This one is the SimLabs GT1 Evo cockpit I've got. Okay. Aluminium profile 80/20. It's absolutely brilliant. I can't fault it. I really can't fault it. You can pick this up in silver like I've got here or aluminium color or black. Black is awesome. I wish I'd have got black, to be honest, for the extra money. but it makes no difference to the build, and it makes no difference um, to any stability, sturdiness to the rig itself. So yeah, if you can pick up one of these, I would strongly, strongly suggest, if you're getting into sim racing and you're serious about sim racing, I would get a SimLabs rig every day of the week, every single day of the week. Um, and again, if you're interested and you do like the look of these, then send me a private message. I've got a certain amount of discount codes that you can use to pick up a SimLabs rig, so I can get you some money off one of these if you want to. It's up to you. I've still got a few discount codes left over, so you're more than welcome to have them. Darko from SimLabs sent me these to use, which I still haven't used and do not have an expiry date. So if you want anything, let me know. Even if it's a monitor stand or anything, then just yeah, send me a message and I'll help you out that way. And anyway, so this GT1 Evo 8020 aluminium profile rig comes at £379. There's a wire in the way because I'm getting caught up. Sorry about that. So yeah, that comes in at £379. So really cheap considering how much you would pay for any other sort of rig. You've got other rigs out there, which I'm not going to name the other rigs, but the other rigs out there are not as strong as this. I guarantee you this because I've tried them at a few sim racing conventions, let's say, or computer or gaming conventions. I've tried out a few rigs, and they're a lot more money than this, ranging between £500–600, and they're still not as strong as this. And this rig here suits belt-driven wheels, and it can suit direct drive wheels as well. And this is all I need. I don't need anything more. So £379, and this is going to last me. You can buy extra bits for it as well. So these bits you get on the side here. You can buy spare bits. You can plonk them on the floor, on the rails here. You can make extra mounting points and all sorts. So yeah, if you've got 379 quid in the pocket, then first thing I'd do is buy one of these rigs. I really would. I think the posting is fairly dear. I think it's around about 50–60 quid to post this thing because it comes in two separate boxes. So just bear that in mind. And yeah, you can buy extra things like the monitor stand. So I've got the monitor stand back here. So on the back, I put this on for my monitor, and then I've got another monitor which is just bolted to the wall here. So my second monitor is up there. But if you don't have a monitor and you just want to run on a TV, you don't need that. But the monitor stand comes in at about 60 quid extra for a bit of extra aluminium profile. And the seat will not come with it, okay? You don't get a seat with it unless you want to buy a seat from SimLabs themselves. They'll supply you with a SimLabs seat, black, red, or blue, and they'll give you a decent looking SimLabs seat. You can have wraparounds here, so you can have a wraparound thing that goes around your head, if you like that sort of thing. But this one I bought from Motormech. Okay, as you can see, I've still got my beer opener. Look. So yeah, a Motormech seat. This seat cost me £235. It was a lot of money. It's a fiberglass seat, which you can actually use in a real car. I probably should have spent less, but I didn't want to spend less. I wanted a decent seat. So the Motormech seat, it's a GT03. Sorry for the mess in the background. It's my bedroom. Oh, and that's it. I'm set up in my bedroom. Some of you said, where's your setup? Have you got a sim racing room? Kind of. I've got a little alcove, as you can see with my womanly pictures up there. It's a real man's cave, isn't it? But yeah, I'm in a little sort of cove area. I'm in my bedroom. There's my Oculus Rift sensor up there. But yeah, so I'm in my bedroom effectively. So what next? T300. We've been through the T300. So again, just mounted on a base plate. As you can see there, T300. The gearbox. Now, I don't use this gearbox much, I'll be honest. But The gearbox is absolutely brilliant. TH8A shifter. These come in brand new at £140. Very expensive, really, for a gearbox, in my opinion, because, well, they're not expensive if you use it on a daily basis, but I do not use this on a daily basis. But they're brilliant. So you've got the H shifter, as you can see, and you can switch it around and turn it into a sequential shifter as well. But they're absolutely solid. I've had that now for about 5 years, 6 years, and it's still absolutely solid. So if you're that way inclined to get a shifter, I would probably get a shifter if you want one. But yeah, I don't think you'd need one if you don't really need one. Hi Newman, how you doing, man? Good to see you. Thanks for tuning in, mate. I appreciate it. And pedals. Now, pedals are probably single-handedly the most important thing in sim racing, believe it or not. It's not the steering wheel, it's not the seat, it's not the rig. The rig, kind of. I think the rig is probably the second most important. But if you have a decent set of pedals, then you're going to need a strong rig. So yeah, 80/20 profile rig, 40 by 80. Yes, it is Newman. Happy birthday, Newman. Happy birthday, mate. I didn't know it's your birthday. Sorry, mate. I must have missed the messages. But yeah, happy birthday, dude. Hope you have a good one. Enjoy the sun. I don't know where you are based in the world, but it's sunny here in Britain, so I'm saying enjoy the sun. So just go and enjoy it as much as you can for about 10 minutes outside before you get arrested. um, so what was I saying? Yeah, so pedals. Really, I'm not going to sing it. You can do one. I don't sing. I'm a death metaler. I don't. Happy birthday to. No, that's it. That's all I'm doing. Anyway, pedals. Yeah. So pedals to me are probably the single-handedly most important thing about sim racing. You get different types of pedals. You get spring-loaded pedals, you get load cell pedals, you get hydraulic pedals. There's so many different types of pedals out there. You've got to be certain you know what you're buying. Again, no, I'm not doing any death metal versions. um, so, firstly, if I can just switch this light off in the background because this is blinding me. All right, that's better. I'll just switch that particular light off. So, pedals. Sorry about the camera as well. I don't have the best webcams in the world, but these are apparently 1080p cameras, which are absolute bull. Anyway, so what I'm running are the Fnatic load cell pedals. Okay, these are extremely popular, and you'll be lucky to find these on the market anywhere. And if you do find these particular pedals on the market, you will find that they will probably be sold within seconds. And they sell for a lot of money for pedals. These pretty much, if you buy these new, I think these new are about 230 euros new. And if you sell them second hand, you will probably sell them for about 200 euros second hand. So you only lose about 30 euros because they really hold their price well because they're such good load cell pedals for the money. I think these are probably the best value for money pedals you can buy in sim racing, personally. You need more symmetrical pedals. Gas and clutch are pop, brake, and load cell, of course. Yeah. I don't really use the clutch much. I'm only using gas and brake, to be honest. But it works for me. I seem to be fast with the way they are, so I think I'll keep them the way they are. So if those of you who don't know what load cell is, then please tell me because I don't. I'm only joking. Load cell, you have. I don't know if you can see that actually behind there, but you have. You see these. You get different adjustments in here. You get different things like this is these. It's a bit dusty behind here, isn't it? Jesus. So in the middle here, you've got these the rubber bungs. Yeah, they're classed as 65, as in 65 being the softest you can put in there. You've got an 85, which is in the middle, and 95, which is extremely hard. So you can adjust how much um, tension you have in the pedals itself. Now I'll tell you what I'm running, even though it's supposed to be a secret. I don't know. I don't really care. At the moment in my load cells, I've got 65, 65, 65, 65, 65, and 95 right at the end. I have played around with different rubber bung thingies for so long, and I've only just found the right thing that works for me. Now, after you've got that right, you then have to go onto the software in the Fanatic software on your PC, and that's where you can adjust your load cell. Um, the load cell, you want them back. Yeah, these are Anwar's, by the way. Anwar done me a solid, mate. When Anwar quit, he sold me his gear, um, and I bought his pedals off him. And yeah, done me an absolute solid. Thank you, Anwar. You're not getting them back. I'm still in love with them. I don't think I'll change them for a while yet. I think the next ones I'll get are probably the Sprints or the Pros, the Husenvelk ones, but that won't be for a while yet. So yeah, if you want them, mate, 400 quid, they're yours. um, so anyway, yeah, and then you have to go on to uh, the Fanatic uh, profiles, and you can set your load cell strength from there as well. So there's a bit of playing about to be done with particular rubbers at the back. Like I say, you've got different different strength of rubbers, different um, how strong they are effectively, and then you've got your profiles within Fanatic, and you have to literally just have that profile open, go on track, and just keep trying and keep trying. So that's your pedals. So like I say, pedals to me are the most, or pedals to most experienced sim racers. I'm not experienced, but the most experienced sim racers, pedals are the most important things to concentrate on when getting into sim racing. People think the steering wheel is important, but to me, steering wheels are not that important compared to pedals. Can you combine their pedals with other brand pedals? Like, yes, you can. So, but only on the PC. You can't do it on a console, Alex. So I've got a Thrustmaster wheel and base, and that is plugged in via USB into my PC, and then I completely bypass. I don't know. Let's have a look behind to see if we can see the pedal. If I just put the camera behind here, yeah, down here, there is, you can't see it. It's terrible camera, but behind there you've got your pedal outlet, which Thrustmaster usually have in there for your pedals. And then if you buy any separate pedals, you can just plug them directly into your PC via USB and completely bypass the steering wheel. The only thing I would suggest, Newman, is with the adapter, is you find you will lose. Now, what's the word they call it? Is it bit rate or something? You lose a certain amount of how much the PC. Hiya, Charles. How you doing, mate? I looked into this, and if you buy any sort of adapter, it then cuts down how much sensitivity and you get into the PC itself. So a bit rate, I think it's like something bit rate. I don't know, 64 bit rate or something like that. The maximum amount of talking each bit of equipment does. So my pedals resolution. Thank you. See, I told you at the start of this. I told you I'm not very well inclined with all the terminology. Yes, you lose resolution. Thank you. Bit rate resolution. See, everyone's got different opinions, so I'm not wrong. But you do lose it. The best thing you can do in all your sim racing gear is plug everything in direct to your PC. Do not bypass any part of your sim racing gear via a splitter or um, a different connection to try and fake it into doing this that. And it goes the same. It's the same with monitors as well, and even in VR I've had that issues as well when you try and split it into, when you go from HDMI and you try and split it into a PC port, something don't work. It doesn't quite feel great. So yeah, try and stay away from splitters. as much as you can. But yes, if you get Fanatic pedals or Who's Invoke pedals or whatever, plug it straight direct into your PC, and you can still use a G29 or even a Thrustmaster steering wheel, no problem. So get rid of the old plasticky pedals if you're running with them, and look into some new pedals. Steering wheels, again, honestly, don't worry about your steering wheel. Steering wheels, to me, probably come third or fourth in line in building a good rig. That's why I still got the steering wheel I've got. There is no point me changing my steering wheel until I've got everything else in place that I need. I got these load cell pedals, and I really like them, and I'm sticking with them. I've now got a good rig. I'm sticking with it, and now I'm looking at getting a new steering wheel. So that's the order I'm going in. So yeah, load cell pedals. If you want the Fanatic pedals at the moment, if you can find them anywhere, they're around about 230 euros. So I'll run through a couple of other things in a second, but again, people are asking me, if you want to get started in sim racing, how much does it cost? It all depends on if you've got the the PC for it. Right, let me just put this camera down because I'm going to sit down again and have my coffee, and I'll switch cameras again. So give us a sec, guys. Oh, right, let me just switch this camera again. Okay, so people have said to me, how much does it cost? How much does it cost to get into sim racing? Because obviously nowadays people are really pushing to get into sim racing because of the way everything's been going, and people have said, how much, do I need to have the basics of sim racing? Um, I have the DFG and the TV. Yeah, the T3PA pedals. I've had those. Um, I've had the T3PA pedals, and while they were good, I believe you can add a load cell to the T3PA. I don't know how good that is because I never went round that route. I decided just to get rid of them and get load cell pedals uh, in general because Amwar was selling them. But the T3PA pedals are good. They're fine. There's nothing wrong with them. I just find when you when you reach the ability that you're at, the pedals will only get you so far and so much pace. Um, you get to a certain level and then you sort of start doing that and you start leveling out. You won't get any better, if that makes sense. Not any better, but I think you sort of hit a brick wall when it comes, and that's what I found after the first year of iRacing. I was using the T3 PAs, and I hit a brick wall with them because I wasn't improving anymore, and I was getting frustrated because I just couldn't understand why. And it wasn't anything I was doing wrong. And I switched to the load cell pedals, and then my rating started going up again. I was getting quicker lap times. Literally, I compared lap times before I got the load cells. I was pumping in loads of lap times with the same setup, with the same fixed weather, with the same car, same track state, everything. And then I went on and done the same settings with the load cell pedals, and I was 0.3 of a second quicker every lap. And that blew me away, actually. Absolutely blew me away. So I was so much quicker out the box. And then once I'd adjusted them and found all the correct settings, etc., it was just the consistency was so much better for me, and the braking, the fluency of the braking was more. In with the T3A pedals, you'll get spikes. I look at a lot of telemetry in VRS and stuff like that, and when you're braking without load cell, you'll get spikes in your braking like this. With the load cell, you'll get a nice curve of, you can apply a certain amount of pressure and then release the pressure. It's like the hydraulic pedals. They're incredible. I wish I had the money to buy them, but you'll get the same. Obviously, you'll get a nice curvature of the brake on the telemetry. With the T3A pedals, you'll get spikes where you're trying to find you're trying to find the right pressure to brake with. Um, and yeah, that's the only issue I find with those sorts of pedals. So yeah, pick up some load cells if you can, and go that direction. Just give me a sec. I'm talking too much. I just want a coffee. Right, it's cold. Yeah, exactly. And well, T3PA pedals will get you to where you want to get to, and then you'll stop. That's pretty much exactly where I got to. I was stuck on. I think I remember you commented once. Actually, I was just stuck on there, and I couldn't go any higher. I was just sitting there, and then I got these, and then I just started racing. So yeah, um, we were talking about this at the weekend. Thanks, dude. Darren, what you were talking about the pedal differences? Is that what you were talking about? I was just saying, Darren, if you've just joined, I know you were talking about steering wheels and things like that, what steering wheels to get. But I was just talking about the importance of pedals in sim racing. A lot of sim racers know this, but a lot of my friends and a lot of people that follow me have messaged me. I've had about 15 messages since the Indy 500 that I've done asking what I'm using. And the only reason I'm doing this is simply to try and help answer some of those questions. And again, I'm not a whiz kid. I'm not a genius. There's loads of YouTube guys out there who are much better than what I am. And I'm sure you can find lots of things like that. But on a personal level, I can talk to you guys now and try and talk to you along with the guys who are in chat, chatting away to you. So they're always there to help me. And most of the guys in the chat now are probably more, tech savvy than me. So yeah, Darren, G29, and you're stuck and can't improve. Well, Darren, you can, like I said to who was it that commented, you can buy individual pedals and link them with your G29 or T300 or whatever it is you got. Obviously, you got G29, so you can buy pedals and bypass the steering wheel. So if you bypass your steering wheel, and what I mean by that is if you buy a set of pedals, like I've got the load cell pedals here, and again they come in at £230 just for the pedals, but that's the price at the moment because of the pandemic and everything. It's the prices are skyrocketing. So after pandemic and things like that, prices all sim racing will drop. So you might want to just hold your horses on buying a load of stuff because just be careful what people are selling you because people are just trying to make a fortune out there. Um, if you manage to find yourself some pedals, I would say that once you bypass your steering wheel, as in plug your pedals directly into your PC, plug your steering wheel directly into your PC, and don't and unplug your G29 pedals from your steering wheel base. That way, you'll get higher bit rate and higher resolution in the steering wheel, meaning you'll have more feeling in the steering wheel because your steering wheel is not concentrating on the pedals that you have plugged in to that. It'll only concentrate on the steering wheel, the steering aspect. So you'll have more resolution. Um, so that's a way to get more feeling out your steering wheel is use separate pedals that are not plugged into your steering wheel. As soon as you plug pedals into the steering wheel and then have one USB, you've got you've got two bits of information going into one USB, which condenses everything and lowers a lot of the feeling and resolution. But if you unplug that, you've got all of that information just on the steering wheel being plugged in, if that makes sense. Um, But yeah, if you like I said to you the other day, Darren, if you can go from a G29 to a T300, if money's a bit scarce as it is for everyone at the moment, um, if you can find a T300 somewhere, I'd probably suggest going for one of those and then doing what I said and splitting the two up because listen, I've been running the T300 for probably five years now, 2 years. I mean, I've run T300 on iRacing ever since I started, and I don't seem to be doing too bad with it. I mean, what more? I can't say much more. Done quite a bit. I've won a 24-hour race. I've got nearly a 6,000 KI rating, and it's all with the equipment I've got. I'm not, it's fine. There's nothing wrong with it at all. So the key about load cell is managing and modulating the brake and able to carry the right amount of speed to avoid lockups. It's exactly that, and Anwar. And you'll find with a load cell, you will find that sort of thing so much easier to control. You won't be locking up you won't be locking up the wheels and things. Nicky then went from hydraulic to ultimate. Wow, didn't know that. Charles Kellyman didn't know he had hydraulic. That's insane and a brilliant way to approach ordering that Leo Bodnar cable I've been reading about. Okay, good stuff. So you all know, you know, sort of, once you start watching a lot of YouTube videos, you start getting an idea of what you need and what you don't need, things like that. And I'm doing the same. I'm still learning. I'm learning massively throughout this entire thing. So, but people say to me, how much do you need? So we're going back to that question. So again, the GT1 cockpit I've got here, you don't need a GT1 cockpit, but if you want to have a solid cockpit that you're never going to replace, for £379 for an 80/20 aluminium profile rig that you can also adapt and bolt on a direct drive wheel if you want to. I think 379 quid for this rig, which I'm never going to replace, is a no-brainer. As I said, you can spend £400, £500, £600 on other make rigs, which I won't name, that are not as strong as this one, and you're spending more money. This rig for the money is a steal, and it's still. And I checked it out online now, and £379. I think that, like I said before, the postage is about 50, £60. Just bear that in mind. You can have yourself a rig for life. That's it. You'll never need to change. I'm telling you that right now. You won't need to change. And this is the basic rig. You know, you get so much better rigs than this as well from SimLabs. They do some amazing kit. So 379 quid is what I paid for this. The fiberglass seat, bearing in mind the seat does not come with it, so you don't get a seat with the rig. You have to buy a seat separately. Again, I spent £235 on my seat. That was a lot of money for a seat, but I wanted a decent fiberglass racing, proper racing seat, so that's what I got, you know. But one of my friends out there bought a seat, one of these. He bought the SimLabs rig and he bought a seat here for 70 quid, brand new. So you don't need to go crazy with the money. Um, and then the steering wheel, T300. So as of now, 270 quid. Gearbox, you don't really need if you don't want to. And the pedals for 230 odd euros. So what we got? 3, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So without the gearbox, with the seat, the GT1. So if you want to get started, everything you need to get started, I would probably say, um, as of today's prices, the crazy prices we're at now, you're looking at £974 for a complete setup. So that's under £1,000 for the entire setup with a T300, which is a decent wheel. You know, yes, it's only got. You know, I'm only running 2.8 newton meters of torque. I mean, that's nothing, absolutely nothing. Some of you'll be surprised to learn that, but that's all I'm running. I don't want to run anymore because I'm used to it. So it's not a lot, I know. But the T300 is fine with the interchangeable steering wheels as well. As I said before, let's just take this bad boy off. So with the interchangeable steering wheels, you can buy add-ons, things like that. You can get yourself a 974 as of today's prices. That's how much you'll pay. If you wait for a few months until after all this pandemic is finished, I guarantee you'd probably get that for about £700, all of that. So for a rig that will last a lifetime, some load cell pedals, a T300, a seat, you can't complain really at that sort of price. Um, you can add certain things on. You can add button boxes. I've got a button box here. Should we can see that? I'll just take it off. So you've got a button box. So that's my button box there. I mainly, to be honest, I use it for the Audi TCR just to start the engine in a league that I'm running in because they won't let you have auto start, so you have to start the engine yourself. So just press that button for ignition, turn the keys, and away you go. But I use that for truck simulator really. That's the only reason I have a button box. I use a truck simulator. You know, it's pretty cool. So there's that. So you can add that, and that was only 40 quid for the button box. That's pretty cool. So you can add that to your rig as well. Just bolt it on, or at the moment, like I've done, is just cable tie it on like a billy. I'm on a play seat challenge and doing just fine. Exactly. So Anwar, you know, he's. I know a few people actually are on a play seat, and they're bloody good, mate. You know, and Anwar is almost as good as me. He's almost as good as me, and he's in a play seat, you know. And oh, I love you, Anwar. So yeah, button box 40 quid, Ferrari add-on wheel, like I said, was 140 quid. Now, there's different ways you can approach iRacing in particular with regards to how you play iRacing and how you drive an iRacing. You can race on a single monitor if you want. I would say that's probably a tricky way of doing it because that's how I start. I started on a 50-inch TV, which is again fine, but you don't really get the graphical greatness and the hertz. I'm never letting you win again, mate. You never let me win. I always just make you lose. Um, so you can play on a single monitor. You can have triple monitor setups, which I want, but I'll probably still run in VR. But I would love a triple monitor setup, but space, time, money, etc., and PC, which we'll come to in a minute. The triple monitor setup, a lot of people run. There's a big debate whether what's better, triple monitor or VR. People always have, shouting matches and stuff about, what's better, what's not better. But I run the Oculus Rift, okay, which is that for those that don't know, for those that haven't seen it, that's the Oculus Rift, yeah. And that's a VR headset. You've got all these little sensors all around here, all around the sides, and you'll see at night time when I'm racing, you'll see the entire thing glowing at the front. It's pretty cool. But that's the sensors, and you've got the sensors up here. You've got a sensor on the computer just here as well. But that's basically what you see inside. You've got your two bifocals effectively, and that's what you look through. You put it on your head and you race. Now, this Oculus, it's called an Oculus CV1, and I absolutely love it, to be honest. I'm not looking at changing headsets. There are much better headsets out there now, but before there wasn't. This was, one of the best things you could get. So if you want to pick these up, I don't even think you can buy them brand new anymore because I think they've been discontinued. I could be wrong, but I have looked on the Oculus website before I came online, before I went live today, and I think they're now discontinued, and I think you can only pick them up second hand. Could be wrong, I don't know. But if you wanted an Oculus CV1, this thing, when it was brand new, when it first released, this was released in March 2016, yeah, so 4 years ago to this day, pretty much. Actually, no, that's wrong. 4 years ago in 2 months. I've been in lockdown too long. So when this was brand new, believe it or not, this was $600. Okay, 600. Now I wouldn't pay that brand new for virtual reality. I really wouldn't. I'd rather go triple monitor setup. But nowadays you can pick them up in this day and age. The way things are going, again, I keep saying it. The way things are going now, you can pick these up for about £300 if you're lucky. There are some people out there trying to get 450 quid for these things. I mean, it's just insane. I would stay away from buying VR just yet. Genuinely, that's a personal opinion of mine. Wait until everything has calmed down outside in the real world. And you can pick these up for about £200, if not a touch less. 195. I picked this up for 180. No, yeah, 180 quid, 185 quid, I think, about 2.5 years ago. No, that's wrong as well, because I started 2.5 years ago. And we're talking about. See, this is the great thing about live video. You can't clip and edit. I bought this probably about a year and a half ago because I'd done the first. That's right, yeah, I did because I'd done the first year on a monitor. So just be careful if you're looking at getting into VR. Please don't go on eBay and find one for 390, 400 quid and think it's a good deal, because it's not, especially for a CV1. If it's if it's an of what do you call it? What are the other ones? HP Reverb or Vive or something? Fine. They're probably worth it because they're brilliant. But don't pick up a CV1 for 400 quid, 450 quid and think you've got a good deal, because you haven't. Please don't buy that. Just, again, if you've got any issues, send me a private message and I'll try and point you in the right direction and give you some advice on what you should be looking at. Valkyrie and Racer, do you have two PCs, one for every day and one for your racing setup? No, this is the only one I have. I'll show you that in a sec. Let you know what components I've got in there as well, as much as I can. I have not built my PC, by the way. This is a pre-built PC. Again, I'll go into that in a minute. But no, I have one PC. And why, yeah, you just have to get the Rift S, which is not much better apparently. You just need an external sensor now. Yeah, so you can, as Anwar says, you can get the Rift S. They've just Oculus have now released the Rift S, which of course is an upgrade, okay, to the CV1, which I don't know. I've got reserved judgments of that. I haven't tried it, but I've seen a lot of reviews on the Rift S. It's good, don't get me wrong, it does what it's supposed to do, it's brilliant, this, that, and the other, but it's got built-in, am I right in saying it's got built-in sensors now, so you don't need anything on the walls, sensor-wise? I don't know, that's just what it sounds like. And I've heard the FPS has dropped a little bit compared to so this one runs 90 frames per second, this CV1, um, which is fine, there's no issue with that. But the Rift S I've heard runs 85, maybe something like that. I don't know. So, but the Rift S is their answer to the CV1. Um, I don't know why they discontinued the CV1 or why they just didn't make it a little bit better, make a CV2. This thing's brilliant. I love this thing. I think it's absolutely brilliant. It's solid, absolutely solid. So if you can get a CV1, grab one because I think they're brilliant. Brand new, only £499. Brand new Rift S, I'm guessing you mean, is £499. You can get the Valve Index. Yes, the Valve Index. Now that's the one. That's the one I was. That's the huge one, isn't it? That's got a big field of view. That's the one I think I was looking at. Um, Brand new, and it's by far the best one on the market. Yeah, that's the one. So that's the one I've been looking at. I can't justify spending 600 quid at the moment just on that because I think I'm going to put it into a wheel, but it's definitely something I'm looking into. So yeah, as Anwar said, the Valve Index is an incredible bit of kit. Charles Kellerman runs a CV1, and they're great, aren't they, mate? They're absolutely brilliant. I love them. They're really good. And I like the fact that there's still external applications out there that allow you to also bring overlays into the headset, which is another thing I'll talk about now. With the CV1, you can buy your hand controls here. So you got your hand controls. So with these here, you'll see me on my live streams as well. When I say to you, hold on 1 second, I'm just going to bring my chat into my overlay. You'll see me start holding these things and doing all this around the screen. Effectively, what I'm doing is I'm bringing in, with these, I'm pointing at my screen in VR and I'm dragging from my desktop, I'm dragging an application into my headset. So to see all the chat, like what you guys are chatting on now, I'll bring that into my headset. And when I'm racing, I will place that on the bottom right hand side of my car. So when I'm racing, I'll see the comments popping up as and when I'm racing, which is really handy. And that's why these are brilliant. These are also very good for shooting games and stuff. It really gets you immersed. But I done that once and I ended up punching my monitor and nearly broke it. So well, I don't use these too much apart from bringing them in. But if you want these, if you love your VR games, not sim racing games, but VR games, as in sword fights, things like that, and shooting games in VR, and these are fantastic. Absolutely fantastic. These you can pick up brand new for about £130, brand new. But I picked these up for 95, I think, second hand. So again, these hold their price because they're very good. And you can't really do much without them if you want a full experience in VR. So these are very good. What chat box? What do you mean what chat box? I have a CV1 but run quad monitors. Quad monitors. Wow, cool. Um, Chat box. How do you mean chat box? Do you mean what you see on your live stream now? What you see on there? If you're talking about that, then it's Restream chat. So I think it's re.stream, and I can change the way the boxes are. So I've customized the boxes, the chat, and also anyone that chats on YouTube, Twitch, and Facebook, it will all come up in one chat box here. So if I went onto Twitch now and sent a message, it will come up, hopefully, if I can find it. it will come up. So effectively, I see all the yeah. So it's Restream chat. So if you go to Restream and set up a live stream, etc., go through all the links. You basically go to Restream, you put all the links in. So you put your YouTube link in there, you put your Twitch channel in there. I think you can put up to like 20 different channels in there. And when you go live, it then sends out a live feed to all the channels that you're linked to. So I've only got three. I've only got Twitch, YouTube, and Facebook because that's all I really care about. But like if I say hello in Twitch, that will come up on your chat now. Look, so Twitch now comes up, so you can see um, on there on the live stream. So I can sort of keep an eye on everything going on, sort of thing. So, do you use a webcam for filming your streams? And what stream software do you use? OBS, GeForce. So, yes, I'm using webcams. I use Advent. Yeah, I'll show you. Those ones. Advent full. You can't. They're not great clarity wise, but when you zoom out, they're good clarity. I quite like it. But yes, I stream on these webcams. And if I switch webcam, you'll see how I've got my other rig cam set up. Anwar, if you just give us 1 second, dude, we'll switch to this camera. Okay, so the camera's there. You see, that's the camera you're looking at just a minute ago, and I'm on a stand. So that's how the camera's set up there. Okay, so hello, Chris. Love watching you guys in the TCR. Thank you, Simon. Appreciate that, man. So that's how I'm running with that. So yeah, I run. Oh come on, why can't I get my other camera sorted now? Where is it? There it is. So yeah, run webcams. Set them up in OBS. That's what I use there. So OBS is what I'm using now. Just fantastic bit of software. Absolutely brilliant. I love it. Also, my teammate messaged me a few weeks ago and said you can actually control OBS from your phone now. So you've got an application on your phone. So if anyone's interested or runs OBS now, you can run. Let me see if I can find the application. It's on Android or Apple, I believe. Where is it? Yep, Stream Decks. So we'll show you that. Skip remote. So as you can see, look on your phone. I don't know if you. I'm not sure you can see that very well actually. No, you can't see that very well. But I've got all the different things here. Look, you can scroll, you can turn cameras off, things like that. So you control OBS from your phone, which is absolutely brilliant as well, which is really handy, especially if you're in VR. You don't have to go to the website, the web application on your PC. Literally just lift your headset up, do that on your phone, job done. So that's another great thing about OBS as well. And yeah, if anyone needs any help setting up OBS, I'll try and help the best I can. But this was set up for me, so yeah. So anyway, on to monitors. If you're interested in monitors, basically the monitor I run again, I run a single monitor down below here. Again, I'm in VR, so I don't really need, I'm not interested monitor wise too much, but I have one monitor, a curved 32-inch Samsung monitor there, and I have a secondary monitor just above. Sorry, it's so bright, it's just the way it is. A secondary monitor above, which I use for my applications, live timing, VRS telemetry, whatever I want running, I'll have on this top monitor here while I'm racing. And then when I come in the pits, I'll just look at the telemetry, look at certain things on there, which is really handy. And again, this is just my other monitor. So the bottom monitor there, that's 144 hertz gaming monitor. That costs 300 quid. And that one's just a cheapie 1080p 80 quid monitor. You don't need anything special, so just get a cheapie there. So that's your monitors. So the monitors there, cheap as chips if you want them. not too much, but don't go crazy on monitors, especially if you're in VR. There's no point going absolutely mental with monitors. Um, Headset. I got this headset recently, 70 quid for the headset, absolutely brilliant. Tried VR Vive, and although motion was superb, I couldn't deal with the resolution, so went back to triples. Yeah, it's too bright because there's a fault in section monitor. So, Simon, I think this is where a lot of people have the triple monitor and VR argument. I think that the issue is if you've gone from a triple monitor setup and then straight into VR, you're going to be disappointed. Fact. Because if graphics is all you want, you're going to be disappointed. If immersion is what you want, you're going to be super impressed coming from triple monitors. That's my point. So if you love, the glitz and glamour of certain iRacing or certain sim racing platforms, then triple monitors may be your best bet. If you really want to show off your PC's potential. But some people can't get used to that. I was lucky enough, I didn't come from a triple monitor setup. I went straight from a PlayStation 4 straight to a single TV screen, which was a big TV screen, um, which, it was okay. It weren't great, but it was okay. And then I went to VR. I skipped the whole monitor stage. I didn't even have a monitor to start off with. So I went to VR and I loved it, and I've stuck with it ever since because I just think the immersion is incredible. Um, so yeah, I think that's the difference. I think if you've come from a really cool setup, triple screen, and then go to VR, I think 6 times out of 10, I'd say over 50% of people will go back to triple monitors because of that particular reason I said. But some of them will stay, and some of them go because they can't handle the motion sickness. You just need to get over that though. Um, yes, I agree with what you're saying. I only use iRacing, yeah. Uh, if you enjoy better sound, I recommend Sound Blast RX G6. That sounds pretty cool. I'll take the depth perception immersion over resolution. Yeah, I'm the same, to be honest, Anwar. I'll always take the immersion. I'm not too. I like graphics, obviously. Everyone loves a good graphical game. But I've got other graphical thirsty games which I play, which I love. I love playing. Yeah, but for iRacing, when it gets as serious as it does, I need the immersion and I need what to look around. So GPU needs updating on a 1070. So yeah, onto the PC. That brings me, Simon, onto another topic. Now I'm going to talk about the PC now that I've got, and it's not. Again, I'll say from the start of when I started my stream, I'm nowhere near um, a whiz kid on PCs. My technical knowledge on building PCs is crap. Okay, so if I get terminology wrong and all sorts, please bear with me, correct me, let me know what I'm saying wrong, if anything. So I won't go into it too much detail because I don't want to embarrass myself. Okay, because at the end of the day, I bought a pre-built PC and it just runs, and I leave it running, and it does well, and that's fine by me. That's fine by me. The only thing I've done extra is install extra fans to cool it down, but that's it. So my PC. Um, I run a 1080 GTX GeForce 1080 graphics card um, with a power supply, a Corsair power supply TX 650M power supply. There you go. That's what I run. That's all I can see in there. Yeah, that's what I got. But no, I run an i7 processor as well. So I've got i7. I did have a PC before this, um, which was great. It was absolutely brilliant for what it was. PC. I think it was an i5 processor with a 1060 graphics card, and I was racing in VR. And although it ran in VR, I had, like I said, i5 with 1060. It was fine. It worked. I was racing, but I couldn't have I couldn't have the frames per second or the um, the graphics I wanted within iRacing. Um, because obviously iRacing's got extremely thirsty now with the graphics and things like that, with the more things they're putting in into iRacing now. So I noticed this in particular when I was at Le Mans, when I was done a 24-hour, I think a year and a half ago or something like that, and I was practicing around there, and I was hitting 56 or 60 frames per second or something like that, even with the graphics, in mid-range. So I was getting a little bit annoyed because I knew my Rift could do a lot better than that. So I effectively just completely bought a new PC. So this PC, um, we'll switch to the other camera again, and I'll just show you what PC I've got. Yeah, I run 1080. It looks pretty good in the headset, to be honest, and it definitely made me quicker. Yeah, to be honest, I find it looks brilliant with a 1080. I think it looks brilliant. I ain't got any issues. I'm used to it, so I ain't got any issues at all. I don't have um, I don't have issues with the graphics side of things. Simon Roberts, I need to try it again. I think my GPU needs updating to on a 1070. Now, my friend, um, Danny, I don't know if he's watching this or not. Danny Henny, calling him out. Decent lad, good lad. He races on iRacing. He's got a 1070 GTX 1070 as well, and he's now upgrading to, I think it's a 2080 Super, because he knows that now. Before, about a year and a half ago, 2 years, it was fine for iRacing. 1070 was fine, and he was racing loads, and he had no complaints, and he could run it. FPS was 90 all the time. Now iRacing has gone on a bit more with with what they're putting in with different graphical even if you go into iRacing's graphical options, you'll see there's a ton more stuff you can adjust now. So obviously it's getting a lot more thirsty. He's realized that he can't now get the FPS and the graphics that he used to get, so he's now having to upgrade. So that might be, yeah, it might be time for an upgrade possibly on your PC with regards to graphic cards and GPU. Um, so there is that. Um, Type command to PC, or as you can see specs for PC. Type command to PC DX dot what? See, it's things like that. What would you mean? Yeah, in the same as your friend then iRacing. Yeah, it has, Simon, definitely. Um, I had a 970 running VR, but glad I yeah. I think 1080, the regular 1080, not the TI version, the one just below. I think that's now probably the minimum you need to be at. Yes, you can still run it on 1070 and 1060, but I wouldn't advise running on 1060 at all in VR. 1070, yes, again, as Simon says, it works, but it just feels like there's probably something more you can get out of it. So I think 1080, I'm on the minimum now, and no doubt iRacing will just keep, doing that, and mine will be outdated at some stage. So who knows? Um, anyway, so PC. We'll switch to the camera and I'll show you what I've got here. So PC I run is effectively an in-win, whatever that means. So yeah, in-win, you got this. That's basically it. Okay. You got my dirty screen. I tell you what, can we take this off? We can take this off here. Take the cover off, and you'll be able to see it a bit better. Look. So pretty basic, to be honest. There's nothing there that screams I'm a pro. just just a PC. So the extra fans I put in. So if you just open up this here, somehow can't even open it up now. I can't do it with one hand. Whatever. You can open up this, and inside there I've put a control panel in here. I'm not sure you can see it. There's a little blue light in there somewhere. Yeah, see that blue light there? There's inside there. I've got fan controls, so I can turn my fans at different speeds. The extra fans I bought are these ones, whatever they are. I put one there, I put one here, and one there. I've got the Cooler Master something or other. Okay, going to Facebook. I see comments better, no problem. And whatever that is, a TX650M. But yeah, and my card is that thing, obviously. GeForce GTX 1080. So that's my card. Yeah. And yeah, I mean this thing. I mean, this is just a pre-built machine. I bought this. This thing cost me just over £1,000. I think it was 1,080 or 1,100, something like that. Okay, and to be honest, yes, it's a lot of money. And to be honest, with the components I've got in there, I probably could have built it cheaper. But at the time, okay, the GT Force GTX 1080 was far beyond expensive. It was ridiculous. That was in the times of the um, oh, what did they call it? I can't remember what they call it now. My mate Kyle talked to me about this. Basically, the cards were too expensive. I mean, this card was just ridiculously expensive. So to get the PC with that particular card in it, I was quite chuffed with. So um, I think for now it's good enough to do what it does, and I've not touched it apart from putting the extra fans in. That's pretty much what I've got on there. And as for the sensors, I was talking about the Oculus Rift sensors, hand sensors. You can't see. I've painted my walls, yeah, so you can't really see the sensors very well. There's one here, look, on top of my PC, and there's one on the wall up there. So yeah, this is OBS. Look, you can see me. Whoa, that's weird, man. Look at that. Anyway, let's stop doing that. Bit mining. Thank you. That's the word. Yeah. When there were shortages of bit mining, these cards were ridiculously expensive. You know. So I was and Bitcoin. That's the word. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. So yeah. Because of that, when I bought this PC, the 1080, you couldn't buy separately. I was lucky enough to find this PC brand new. I think I bought it from PC World or something. It was brand new. It was on the shelf. It was the last one there, and it had a 1080 in it. And I had to get it. I had to buy it. There was no way I was going to let that go because the card itself was almost as much as the PC back then. So I just went ahead and just got it. So I'm over the moon. I did. The PC has been absolutely solid for me, guys. It really has. I can run, like you say, I can run. There you go. I'm just shining the. Look at me doing the with. So I can run anything I want. High graphics. Obviously, games are getting more thirsty nowadays, so um, I'm sure one day I'll have to start rolling things back. Just put my case back on. But for now, this thing has been brilliant until I break it trying to put this case back on, and then oh, hang on, I've caught a wire in it now. Here we go. This is where I catch a wire in it and everything shuts down and I've got to buy a new PC. Hang on, let me get this back on and I'll. Sorry about the arse in the face, guys. So there we go. You're back, Charles. Good to see you jumping in and out of different chats. So anyway, what have we run through? We've run through the rig, the monitor stand, the Motomech fiberglass seat, the T300, the TH8, the Fanatic. We'll run through the pedals, very important pedals. If you're looking to get into sim racing, again, I can't stress enough, pedals is the most important thing about sim racing. Don't look at anything else. Don't think buying a steering wheel is going to make you quicker because it won't. It's the pedals that will make you quicker. So steering wheel, so pedals, yeah, look at button box, add-on wheels. We've talked about VR. The monitors we've talked about, PC we've talked about, headset we've talked about. So basically everything I've got, I've taken my prices now. I've just basically £3,414. All of this costs brand new, okay, at the time. But after pandemic and all that rubbish that's happened, that £3,414 includes all the add-on steering wheels I've bought. It includes button boxes, it includes headsets, it includes cables, it includes extra sensors, it includes a lot of extras I've bought. Okay, so that's, if you look at my setup and you go, Christ, he's overspent on that. To be honest, it's the extras that I bought. It's the extra monitor that I've got. It's the extra, monitor mount which is holding it on the wall. There's things I've basically tried to add up everything. It's the cameras and things like that. So you could get this set up probably half the price of that. Probably not half the price. Um, but as I say to people out there who are looking at getting into sim racing, if you want, try ACC in VR, your card will cry. Yeah, it probably will, mate. I don't want to. Yeah, I don't want to. Um, you need an extra sensor. Love it. I might try ACC though. I saw you and Dean racing it the other day. I think I might. Best emotion you can find. Yeah. Do you know what, Nick? I think I'll probably end up buying it soon. Replying to Charles Kellyman, AC is really good, but so harsh in VR. Yeah. Um, so yeah, if you wanted to get involved in sim racing, all you would need really is a cockpit, steering wheel, pedals. Um, that's all you need really. And I say if you want the SimLabs rig, I would strongly suggest, even if you're starting out in sim racing, if you know you're going to stick around for a while in sim racing, then I would probably strongly suggest buying a SimLabs rig, because for £379 to buy a GT1 Evo rig, this thing is solid. You won't need anything else. So get one of those, get a T300 steering wheel to start off with, and try and find yourself some load cell pedals. That's what I would say to be a starting point for a racer. I'm still on that gear. I'm 2.5 years in and I'm still doing okay, so I'm still happy with it. But I will be upgrading pretty soon. But you could pick all that up for 700 quid to get you started. Um, but yeah, so that's effectively prices and what I think. And again, I'm not sitting here claiming to be, the goddess of knowledge, because I'm not. I'm just talking about my experience and what I've got, and I think I can only give you my opinions on certain things that I've got and the experience I've had with different pedals I've used, um, rigs I've used, gearboxes, PCs, rifts, monitors, things like that. I can only give you my opinion, and that's exactly what I'm doing at the moment. AC is really good, but harsh VR. You will love it. Then we can do enduros, including all weather goodies. Nick, I will probably look at getting it, to be honest, mate. But obviously with iRacing take a lot of my time up. I do struggle to find sometimes how to balance everything out, especially with family and stuff. I can't spend um, too much time on even more stuff because yeah, I think my wife will divorce me otherwise. I ended up buying Fanatec CSL Elite Load Cell, and I love them. Yeah, they're brilliant. And like I say, if you can find Fanatec Load Cell pedals now, then get them, because I I've, I don't think they're about. And when they are about, when people do sell them on uh, Facebook or I was about to say YouTube, then no one sells them on YouTube. eBay, they sell like that. They sell quick. So yeah, they're brilliant pedals. The reason why they're brilliant is they're all metal construction, absolutely solid. Yeah, that's the other thing. They're not plastic at all. They're all metal construction, and they bolt onto the SimLabs rig like a glove. Um, T300 plus load cell pedals, best starter kit you can get for under 500 quid. Exactly, and it's what I said. So if you get a T300 and the load cell pedals, which I've got and I'm still on, that will be your best starting point. If you buy a T300, you can buy the servo base on its own as well. So you can pick up, let me show you this one. You could pick up a cheap steering wheel. I've seen these go, well, not this Ferrari one. I'll tell you what, let me show you the actual one. I've got another one up here. This steering wheel sells for about 30 quid online. Yeah, I never use it, but it's 30 quid online. You can buy this separately for 30 quid, and you can buy the servo base for about £200. So that's £230 brand new. If you buy it together, they're £270 brand new. So it's a bit of a no-brainer. But the only reason it's £270 online brand new is because they supply you with some really rubbish pedals. I mean, you may as well just race with accelerate with your hands and brake with your hands, because the pedals that Thrustmaster supply you, um, you wouldn't get £5 for. So just chuck them away if you buy a bulk package. Chuck those pedals away. Seriously, please don't race with those pedals. They're nearly swore. They're absolutely shocking. Get rid of them. Um, yeah. Uh, I'll join you. I might get it. Stick to iRacing purely because I have a wife and a 6-year-old twins. Twins, cool. So family time, sim time needs to be balanced carefully. Yeah, I have the same issue, Simon. Well, it's not an issue at all. I shouldn't say that. I have the same. Uh, what's the word? I'm in the same scenario where you've got to be very careful, um, especially at the moment when you've got so much time on your hands at home. It's very easy to get on your rig, sit on there, start practicing, and before you know it, you're on there 4 or 5 hours, and you go downstairs, and you're not welcomed very well. So yeah, you've got to be very careful. Yeah. So what was I going to talk about next? So iRacing, so sim racing in general. At the moment, I don't know about you guys, but as I said right at the start of my live stream, on a normal iRacing week, you would find anywhere between 4 to 6,000 people online in a normal iRacing week. Now we've got this um, now we've got this issue happening in the world that's going on, where everyone's stuck inside. Now you've got about 10 to 14,000 people on iRacing service each week, each day of the week, each day. So each day, if you go on iRacing now, you'll see about 10,000 people online. Um, so this is a good thing and a bad thing in my opinion. Now, the good thing about this is that streams like this or things like this, people watch them because they've got the time to watch them. I'll make videos, I'll do live streams. It helps me get my viewers up. People enjoy watching them. They enjoy the racing. They enjoy answering questions and asking questions, things like that, and getting information, which is fine, which is great, because people then start getting into sim racing, which is brilliant, which is what we all need. We want the grids to be bigger, better, more people involved. The cost of this is the problem is that it seems like now every last Tom, Dick, and Harry is racing now on iRacing, um, and standards over the last few months have dropped significantly in official racing. Um, Now, I was involved in an incident of recent, a few weeks back, in April, where I lost my temper, um, and I regretted it instantly. Doesn't usually happen, but well, it doesn't ever happen. And yeah, I instantly regretted it. So I know what it's like to lose your temper at times. I really do, and I'm the best person to lose my temper. Unfortunately, I'm the best but worst person to lose my temper. Um, so I've been on the receiving end, or the giving end of that sort of thing. But you learn your lessons, sort of thing. Anyway, iRacing officials at the moment seem to have dropped in standards quite a bit. So I'm not saying that, I'm absolutely a golden child in this, because I'm not. But it's difficult now when you've got so many people online, um, to have good racing, um, at all, because I watched someone the other day and he made a very good point online. Um, and the thing that stuck with me is that we have a sim racing community, and the sim racing community as a whole respect each other. Whether you have arguments or not, you all love the same sort of thing. 10,000 in the GT4 backwards and taking out TCRs. Yeah, yeah. I'm involved in the TCR officials, so yeah, I've experienced that quite a lot. Newman, yeah, nice, but gas and clutch are all effect, and that means it doesn't corrupt a few months later, like velocities matter. All sensors are great. So yeah, um, what was I saying? So yeah, you made a good point, and basically saying that sim racing community as a whole have a lot of respect for each other because we all love the same thing. We're all involved in the same thing. But when you get people from outside come in and just use it as a game and completely disregard the respect that others have built up for so long to get right, and wipe people out, um, it's a bit upsetting in a way, I suppose. But anyone can go online. That's the thing. Anyone that's got a bit of money can go online, jump online, and just be a sim racer now. But for me, I couldn't just go out and buy a Porsche and jump on a track and start racing with the real boys out there. I just don't have that. I don't have that option or money or anything that's involved to getting onto a real track anymore. So I think that I think it's tricky because all of us sim racers and all you guys that are commenting, we've all got the same love and passion. Um, and I've seen far too many clips of real drivers, and I'm not just talking about real drivers here. Real life drivers. I'm really not, because sim racers treat real life drivers like crap sometimes as well, and I've seen it. You know, with regards to the Lando Norris thing as well, I saw that. Um, I don't know what's happened to that situation, but yeah, I'm not going to delve into that too much because it's not really what I should be talking about. But yeah, I think there needs to be a lot more respect in general. And I'm personally trying very hard to try and get myself back on the right roads, let's say. Because again, obviously, starting out in iRacing, I came into it and I had a lot to learn with regards to how to race. Changing from going from a console onto iRacing, you had to learn different things. And the thing is, because I came off as well, I come off a real track. I used to race properly in the reals for a very long time. Since I was 8 years old, I've been racing um, in real life. I then switched to um, Clio's for a bit. I didn't race it. I just track dayed it and stuff. But in between the Clio, I was racing other things as well. So coming from that, I came into iRacing, and uh, the changeover. So I'm just reading your comments at the same time I'm trying to talk. Clean up. The changeover from real life to sim racing is huge. So I can understand. So from my point of view, I'm not I was never a big time driver. But I was a real driver and I used to race for real. So I have an opinion based on this because I've done both. Now, going from real racing to sim racing is a huge switch. It's like trying to learn how to race again on a different type of platform. So I can completely understand the frustrations of sim racers with real life drivers. But I also see why real life drivers race the way they do online because it reminds me of how I was when I first got on iRacing. I was brash, I was big headed, I didn't care about anyone else around me. All I wanted to do was win, regardless of the outcome. And unfortunately, because of that, it's for the last couple of years, I found it so hard to build anything up. There's a lot of people that dislike me because of that image that I originally set off, um, which is upsetting. But I've got to try and deal with it now, um, and things like that. It just depends on how you initially put yourself out there. How I approached iRacing straight away, I didn't have the best attitude, um, but over time, you learn to respect the sim. You learn to respect iRacing. You learn to respect the community. You learn to respect your friends, and you learn to respect your teams. And yes, there are times here and there when I lose my temper. I say things I shouldn't. I do things I shouldn't. And but that's all part of racing. That's part of anything. I'm not a robot. No one's a robot. You're all going to make mistakes here and there and everywhere. So to try and say these guys shouldn't be online is not that's not the answer, I'm afraid. But unfortunately, these guys won't be on long enough to figure all this out. They'll be back on the real track soon when real racetracks open up again, and we'll all be back to where we were. But I just think that I think there needs to be just more understanding of what's going on track. Yes, the standards have dropped, but the reasons are because of what I think I've said is because I understand where they're coming from a real racing world, because their racers' mentality is I need to win no matter what cost. So there is that. So as for myself, it's been very hard for me to build up my profile again. So hence why I put out a lot of videos now. Um, Try and show people I'm not on a hole. There's only a few real world drivers who have taken to it. Bobby Thompson seems to have got into the iRacing mindset. Yeah, Bobby Thompson. See, this is the thing. This isn't all drivers I'm talking about. This isn't all real life drivers. Some drivers will come in and completely get it straight away. You know, I was racing with I forget his name in the second race of Brands Hatch in the touring car, racing against an actual touring car driver there. And we had a great battle. He was diving down the inside. We were hitting doors and stuff, but that was, at the time I was going, oh, God's sake. But I look back at it on the replay and even after the race, and I was thinking, do you know what? That was really fun. That was really good racing and respectful racing. Neither of us got taken out. Um, some real racers are also sim racers. Max Verstappen, Lando, Shane VG, Scott McLaughlin, and lots of others. Yeah, there are. Lando effectively came from sim racing, didn't he? He's young enough to be born into this world of how awesome sim racing is these days, whilst he was racing as well. Um, Sorry to say this, but the real driver need to drop their arrogance and enjoy sim racing for what it is. That is my opinion. But it's effectively what I've just said, though, Nick, isn't it? And like I said, I've come from a real racing background. My family members have all been racing since the 70s, and all the way through the 80s, 90s, and then I started racing. My brother was racing. My mum was a sidecar racer. My whole family, my brain is just always about racing, and it's always been about racing. So I've been brought up with this mentality just to, you know, work hard and win, work hard and win, work hard and win. And then going on to sim racing, that's exactly what I said. I had the arrogance, and that I had a lot of arrogance in me. I had a lot of passion to win, but I had no respect of anybody else on track at that time. And it's taken me a long time to learn this, and I think I'm at the point now where I get it. I understand. I was an idiot back in the day. I wasn't a nice person back in the day. I lost a lot of trust from people, but I'm trying to build that back up now. And that's what you say about the arrogance. Yes, they have arrogance. They do. And the problem is with real racing drivers, they won't drop the arrogance, Nick, unfortunately. They won't, because that's what competitive racing drivers are like. They can be very arrogant. Um, you just got to look at half the touring car grid. Unfortunately, you can say some drivers are the nicest people in the world, but you have to have an arrogance about you to have the passion, to have the drive and the determination to win. Arrogance will always be there, you know. Um, Arrogance will always be there in any real racing driver. Um, Passion, determination, arrogance, and the mentality to win are the things that I think will get you where you want to be to be be in. Thanks, Charles. Appreciate that, man. Trying hard. But as I say, coming from real world racing and being surrounded by my family who are real world racers or was real world racers, and it's like my dad. My dad's um, 70. I've got to get this right because I got his birthday wrong the other day. I think I called him 73, but he's actually 72. He could be 71. Sorry, Dad, if you're watching, mate. I love you, but I forget your birthday. But my dad's 71, and he's still going around Snetterton um, on his 600cc Suzuka, doing 160 mile an hour down the back straight at 71. You know, he's still doing it. And like I say, my mum used to race sidecars. You know, she was the passenger in a sidecar, and she used to race around Snetterton, around there. My brother was a racer. He used to race karting with me um, ever since we were kids. So yeah, it's just been a big, big cycle of motorsport in my life. First time I've watched one of your streams. Certainly no arrogance, and I'll be fine. Thank you, mate. I appreciate that. Thank you, Simon. Um, it's nice to hear that. Take Max Verstappen as his uncle as a racer. He is arrogant, but he is quick and almost as everyone. As a racer, yeah, exactly. Max Verstappen is very arrogant, but he does it in the right way. You know, he gives himself off in the right way. Um, you have to have arrogance in a certain degree. The real racers who are being forced into doing it won't like it. And that's exactly it. And Ben's a racer as well. Chosen Pessimist Racing there. Ben's a racer, and I've raced with Ben a few times. And Ben is right. You need to have an arrogance about you. Mr. Goody Two Shoes and nice guy won't go anywhere in racing. Unfortunately, it just doesn't happen. You know, you need to have just a smidgen of arrogance to do it. So being there, I used to race 70cc scooters. Did you actually? That's cool. Or are you having me on? I'm pretty gullible, mate. So you're having me on probably. But yeah, that's my take on the sim racing at the moment as it stands. Um, and I think we should all just, as sim racers, calm down a little bit as to um, getting pissed off with the real world racers. We should be lucky that they're on the track with us. We should feel privileged that they're on the track with us, regardless of arrogance and whatnot. Um, you know, last week I raced against Billy Munger, Jason Plato, Tom Onslow Cole, just to name a few drivers. There's other drivers. There's loads of other drivers in that particular series, which I don't know. In the When me and Nick raced the 12 hour of Suzuka, we raced against Robert Kubica. Yes, he was in a different class to us, but he was on the same track as us and he was racing. It's fantastic to see. Um, and obviously, Lando Norris and Max Verstappen are still racing online. Um, yeah, and I used to race against Lando along with all the other sim racers before he was a Formula One driver. So we should just feel a bit more privileged in what we've got because there are a lot of people that don't have any of this, and they're sitting at home in a 40th floor in a flat, bored out the skull. So we're lucky to even have this discussion about certain things. We're lucky we've got the opportunity to have a discussion about these things because at the end of the day, these aren't problems. So we need to stop treating them as problems because problems get resolved and problems do eventually um, go away effectively. Not saying the driver's going to go away. I'm just saying problems do dissipate and things get sorted and then we'll move on to another problem. So let's not yeah, exactly. All those names that I can't say. Robert Kubica, Thim, Z- Zoe Glingling. I said that wrong. Zoe Glingling. Zog, Zog, Zoe, Zoe Gling. Zoe Portoli. How do you say that name? Zo- oh, Jesus. Crying. Zog. I'm not even gonna. Portoli. I'm not even gonna say that name again. I nearly wet myself. But yeah, we are very lucky. There's plenty of people with nothing exactly, and I just think we need to sort of take a step back and just enjoy what we've got for now, because you'll all be back at work soon. You'll all be, dying to get back on your sim. um, oh God. So anyway, yeah, I've ran through everything I wanted to talk about really, um, and yeah, I just basically wanted to just chat about a few things. You know, that was all really. Chat about the money side of things, and I think I've ran through everything I wanted to. Um, and I saw a debate just before I go. I'm going to cut off the live stream in a minute, but I saw a debate the other day about racing gloves. People that race, obviously, I race with gloves. I race with these two. I bought these from Abruzzi, these things, and I think I'll leave it there. I've never used them, so um, well, put it this way: I have used them, and then I took them off, and I done that with them. Uh, no dissing Abruzzi at all. I think Abruzzi are great, but I don't like them because my hands just don't feel very comfortable in them. But they're great. They're great for looking at. Um, yeah, plenty of people cutting himself for someone really lucky. But yeah. So yeah, no, I use gloves. I use these Alpine Stars ones at the moment. I just find them. I'm just used to them because they're kiting gloves. The Abruzzi ones, actually, I probably shouldn't chuck them over there. I have used them, and like I say, do you know what I mean? I put them on that. I think the only thing I'd probably say about these gloves is great grip, by the way. Fantastic grip. Absolutely brilliant. I think I'm just used to these. These are seamless gloves, and because these are seamed, I can feel every last seam inside, and it agitates my fingers. That's the only thing I'd say. That's the only thing I think I like with this particular finger here. I can feel one, two, three, four, five seams pressing against my finger, just in one finger. Uh, and I've got two of those ones. um, Mechanics gloves. Yeah, 20, yeah, they're the shorter ones, the mechanics gloves, aren't they? They're like that short, aren't they? They're pretty good actually. I was looking at some of those, to be fair. Um, Cheap garden gloves. Excellent. Do that, mate. I want to see them. Send me a picture. I want to see your gardening gloves you use, man. But yeah, I like these. I love the way they look, but for feel, honestly, again, Abruzzi are brilliant, great company, great looking. It's just the feel of them. That's the only issue I had against them. I can't feel much. You know, that's all. I think that's all. That's the only reason. But with my old karting gloves I've got here, the Alpine Stars one, they fit so they're like skin gloves. They fit so well, and they're just thinner on the finger. They literally surround the finger, so I can feel every last thing. So I use gloves because I just I just I just like it. But yeah, yeah, it is, Nick. It's a great company, Abruzzi, absolutely brilliant company, but they're not for me. Some things just don't fit, do they? Um, Company-wise, it just doesn't work. Um, so yeah, and I think that's pretty much it. I think that's all I wanted to really talk about. Just my sim gear and everything else, and answering questions and so forth. So um, yeah, I think I've ran through pretty much everything. So if you've got any more questions, fire them off now. Otherwise, I think I'll end the stream um, because I think we've had a good old chat. I've taken some time out my day to do this, which has been nice actually, because it's nice just to sit here and chat to you guys that are watching and talking. So it's always nice that I'm not talking to myself. Yep, no worries, Simon. Thanks for joining, mate. I appreciate that, buddy. Yeah, come and join us soon. I'm racing again on Wednesday for the touring cars, so yeah, watch back the stream if you want to. And I appreciate that, man. Thanks for joining. I really do appreciate it. Do you coach? I need it. I'm not that good. Mate, Charles, I think I'm lucky more than anything. Okay, so one thing I've learned is let the race come to you. Try not pushing for the race every time. If you push for the race, you'll end up in the wall, making mistakes, this, that, and the other. Sometimes you've just got to get a few bad results or a few mediocre results to get the better results, and it will come. Um, I'm going to get you to Assetto Corsa now. I know, I think I might have to. See you later, Simon. Take it easy, buddy. Uh, no, if I start coaching, that's going to end up with a load of hate towards me. There's going to be so many people out there saying, "Oh, Daines, you got no credentials to coach," and they're probably right. To be fair, the community can be so toxic sometimes. It can be so toxic. So I just don't. I try not to. I try and stick to what I know and do what I do. But if you need any advice or anything at all, I can send me a private message and I can give you as much advice as I can from my own knowledge. Again, I can give you as much feedback as I can possibly do. Um, yeah, Charles, I think I saw you won an MX-5 race of some sort, did you? Did you not? BSR MX-5 Tuesdays or something? I think I saw you do something like that, which is pretty decent. Uh, best thing you need to do is relax. Yeah, exactly. Exactly what Nick said. Exactly what I said. He's just there's no point pushing for that pole position, pushing for the extra position you might make up. Um, you've just got to sit there and just concentrate on your race. I think I think now the main thing you can do in iRacing, if you're in a race, sprint races not so much, but I'm talking races which are half an hour, 45 minutes long, an hour long. The best thing you can do is just think about your tyres. I think that's the best way to move forward with pace. Because if you can look after your tyres with this new V7 tyre model, if you just concentrate on your tyres in the race rather than positions, I think you will find come the end of the race you will start picking up those positions because others will start falling off the track because they've pushed too hard because they're just, oh, I need to win. Just you just relax, just relax, and even if it doesn't work out in the end and you end up coming 20th, 30th, whatever, that's fine. You learn from it and you think, okay, well maybe I'll just push that little bit more until you find that point where you can um, feel comfortable. Um, yeah, same Newman, but hence why obviously hence why I'm very careful on my live streams with what I say at the moment, and things like that because I know there are certain things which get picked up on my live streams. There are some people out there that that love to clip things. Like for instance, this live stream now, I guarantee you someone will clip something I've said and put it all over the internet. It's what happens to me all the time. It's what I deal with. But it don't bother me. It don't bother me because, like I said on my last stream, any exposure is good exposure. So, but yeah, I'm just trying the best I can. I'm trying to be a different person within iRacing. I'm trying to um, find the positivity within myself to carry on to the next stage of sim racing because I want to be at that next stage of sim racing. I don't just want to be um, a guy that just does officials. I want to go to that next level, but that's going to take a while to get there. But I've got the determination and the passion to do that and to get there. I don't want this just to be, oh, I'm just going to jump on for a quick race. I want it to be something I want to do, because I think I can, with the right equipment, with the right mindset, with the right coaching from certain people. I watch a lot of YouTube videos of live streamers on how they do things, how not to do things, and I take all of this on board to try and be a better person, a better driver, a better sim racer, and a nicer person to approach in general. So I'm just, you know, we'll see. Hold on, clipping now. Am I going to be racing open wheelers again? Do you know what? I didn't race, sorry, I practiced the Formula Renault, and I loved that, and I was quite quick at it. So I am looking at it for next season. Um, I'm going to continue doing the touring car next season, but I might throw in some single seaters in there. So yeah, it is something I've definitely looked at again. Um, so yeah, that's something else I've been looking at. But yeah, other than that, I think you guys have been great, and I think I'm going to end the stream there. Um, so hopefully it isn't going to do open wheels kicks ass every time. We will see, mate. We'll see. I've not raced the F3 for quite a while, but we'll see. Anyway, look, guys, I think I'm going to end the stream there. I'm going to go downstairs. I'm going to go and grab myself something to eat. I'm going to make myself another coffee. Um, Again, this has all been based on my own experience within sim racing. This has been based on my own money expenditure on all my gear. This has been based on me trying different pedal sets out, um, different PCs out, different rigs, seats, how to view things, how to change things, and it's all been my experience. And I'm not sitting here saying I'm right in anything I've just said. I'm just literally expressing my opinions and uh, and go off what I know. Yeah, no problem, Nick. I'll chat to you soon, buddy. Thanks for joining, mate. I appreciate that. Yeah, and I'll race you soon, Charles. No doubt. I'll battle you soon. So yeah, this is just a stream for me. I'm just wasting a bit of time while I'm sitting here doing nothing. While we're all sitting at home not doing a lot. So I'm just here just to uh, answer some questions and give you some feedback of what I've got. So, and I really appreciate you guys joining, and it's great to see so many people joining in the chat, asking questions. I just had a message from Restream saying we had over 100 people commenting, so massive, massive achievement for me because my streams are getting more popular, which is great for me. It's great for everyone. Um, yeah, with no space for a rig, I only got a G27. Think I'll have to wait a while, but it seems like it could be a lot of fun. Yeah, you just gotta, I started off in um, a little, um, basically a small room on. I used to be a carpet cleaner a few years back, and we used to have a table where we would clean sofa cushions. I used to clean sofas and things like that, settees, and we had a table that we would take the cushions off and put the cushions on the table so we wouldn't have to bend over and bend our backs and scrub the cushions on the floor and stuff. And I used to have to put the cushions on this table and clean the cushions. Now, after work, I would take that table, the foldable table, out the van. I'd put it in my small room, set the table up. I'd get my steering wheel, I'd bolt it onto that table, our cleaning table I've just cleaned cushions on, and I would race with a foldable chair out on that thing on a small TV just in front of me. And that's how I started. Um, I used to race on that, and when I finished, I used to unbolt it all, put the table, wipe it down, put the table back in the van, and then go to work the next day, and then come back and set it all up again. That's how I started off. Um, you know, Prior to the Spectrum and Atari days, when I bought my own wheel, that's how I started off. And I started off with a G25, I think it was, for the PlayStation, and yeah, so we all start somewhere, but it, it there are so many different rigs out there now as well, which you can fold, you can do this, do that with, um, and there are different options for everyone's pockets, and I think that's the great thing about sim racing, is what everyone needs to understand and learn. So, but yeah, hang in there. It should be good. The future's looking good for sim racers in general, especially after all this. The money iRacing's probably made from this has just been incredible. So anyway, guys, look, I'm going to leave it there, and I really appreciate um, um, everyone joining, everyone chatting, and everyone taking the time to be polite, nice, and seeing what I've got to say, whether you agree or disagree. I think I've tried to be as specific as I can with the knowledge I've got based on what I know. So yeah, so I think we're just going to end it there now. So anyway, guys, I really appreciate you joining. As usual, follow my streams, give it a like, give it a share. Go to my Twitch, follow me on Twitch, follow me on YouTube, Facebook. Go to my Daines Sim Racing page. I've got my own sim racing page. It's just Daines Sim Racing. Go there, give us a like. I'll always put my live streams out there. Um, I really appreciate everyone joining. Anyway, I hope everyone stays safe out there. Um, Enjoy the weather while it lasts. Anyway, take care, everyone. Peace out.